Three justices that sat on the Court of Appeal panel that quashed the 15-count terrorism charge the federal government preferred against the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB Nnamdi Kanu, has been transferred from various divisions. Investigation by the Vanguard revealed that the three appellate court justices were transferred 4 days after they delivered the judgment that discharged the embattled IPOB leader. Whereas the presiding justice, Jumai Hanatu Sanke, who was hitherto in the Gombe division of the court, has been moved to Oka division. Justice Oladotun Adetope Okojie, who delivered the lead judgment, was transferred to Owerri, while the third member of the panel, Justice Ebiowe Toby, was moved to Gombe. A memo dated October 17, which was signed by the President of the Courts of Appeal, Justice Monica Domba Mensem, stressed that the new posting for the justices was with immediate effect as they were expected to report to their new stations by October 21. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court was supposed to, based on what we had, the case is going to the Supreme Court. The federal government fired, but a letter report says they went to appeal, and we will brief you on what happened today. So the federal government will be, among other things, contending that the appellate court panel erred in law and occasioned a miscarriage of justice when it relied on the manner Kanu was rendition from Kenya to Nigeria after he jumped bail the trial court granted to him in 2017 to quash the entire charges against him. So it maintained that the appellate court acted in error by striking out the charge against the IPOB leader on the premise that the trial judge no longer had the jurisdiction to handle the matter. Therefore, federal government, through the office of the Attorney General of the Federation and a Minister of Justice, is praying the apex court to, in the interim, suspend the execution of the Court of Appeal verdict pending the hearing and determination of its appeal. It will be recalled that the appellate court had an unanimous judgment by the three-man panel of justices accused federal government of flagrantly violating all known laws in the way it forcefully rendered Kanu from Kenya to the country for the continuation of his trial. It held that such extraordinary rendition without adherence to due process of the law was a gross violation of all international conventions, treaties, protocols, and guidelines that Nigeria is signatory to, as well as a breach of the appellant's fundamental human rights. More so, the appellate court noted that the federal government failed to refute the allegation that the IPOB leader was in Kenya and that he was abducted and brought back to the country without any extradition proceedings. It held that the federal government was ominously silent on the issue, which it described as very pivotal in determining whether the trial court would still have the jurisdiction to continue with the criminal proceedings before it. The appellate court had held that the federal government's action tainted the entire proceeding it initiated against Kanu and amounted to abuse of criminal prosecution in general. And the court will never shy away from calling the executive to order when it tilts towards executive recklessness. The appellate court held, even as it accused federal government of engaging in serious abuse of power. So let me just briefly talk about what happened after that judgment that at the appeal court that Nnamdi Kanu was discharged and acquitted. Federal government made some ploy, and the three justices who deliberated on that matter were quickly transferred. Once they were transferred, the federal government, instead of going back to Supreme Court, which was supposed to be today, they went back to appeal court to appeal that judgment. Not just a stay of order, but they said there's a violation in the judgment. Now they have moved the judges, hoping the ones around will, pass judgment in their favor. But we shall tell you what happened later. Follow the news. In our updates today, we shall tell you what happened. So, now what is the federal government's plan in their new appeal? They are planning to, they are trying to say Nnamdi Kanu While Nnamdi Kanu was released, I think in 2017, he was expected to appear in court, and the army attacked his home. And somehow, if you are in his position, you will run for your life. That was what happened. So the federal government is holding on to that to resume the trial. But like we said, we shall tell you what happened after today's sitting. Court document shows Kaduna Governor Rufai lied. Peter Obi was not responsible for his arrest. Rufai, a few weeks back, had claimed that Obi in 2013, as the governor of Anambra State, arrested and detained him. It has been revealed that Kaduna State Governor Nasser Rufai lied that Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, was responsible for his arrest in Anambra in 2023. The Kaduna State Governor, who stated this at an interactive session of the Arewa Joint Committee in Kaduna and on several occasions, claimed that Obi arrested and detained him for 48 hours. Rufai stated that he visited Anambra to monitor the state's governorship by-election at the time. However, a court document had cleared Obi. A judgment of the Federal High Court, Awka Division in Anambra State, delivered on September 29, 2014, shows that Obi had no hand in the detention of Rufai in 2013, a report by PR Nigeria has also revealed. According to PR Nigeria, that obtained a suit filed by Rufai on the 19th of December 2013, challenging the breach of his fundamental rights as occasioned by his restriction to hotel premises, disclosed that it has no reference either directly or indirectly to Obi in Rufai's 48 hours detention at Finotel hotel premises. Rufai in his claims in the court papers had stated that operatives of the State Security Services, SSS, were solely responsible for the unlawful restriction he suffered from November 15 to 16 that year. In the judgment delivered by Justice Bature Issa Galfai, Rufai directed his allegations against the SSS alone and did not join either Peter Obi or Anambra State government as defendants in the suit marked Federal High Court, Awka, CS 310. The only two defendants in the suit are the SSS and the Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, as first and second defendants, respectively. The AGF was made a defendant on the account of being the chief law officer of the Federation as well as for vicarious liabilities reasons. The news platform disclosed that Justice Bature Issa Galfai, in the 29-page judgment, never made even a veiled reference or issued an order whatsoever against Peter Obi and Anambra State, since Rufai, in all his depositions in the suit, pointed no wrongdoings against Peter Obi in the detention saga. Justice Galfai in the Court of Appeal found SSS liable for the unlawful detention of Rufai and accordingly imposed a fine of 2 million naira on the security agency to be paid as damages to Rufai for the breach of his fundamental rights to personal liberty, freedom of movement, speech, and association. The judge also ordered the SSS to tender an apology to Rufai in two national dailies, to wit, The Sun and Daily Trust newspapers, having been found liable for the act complained of by Rufai. The SSS and AGF in their joint counter-affidavit to Rufai's claims of unlawful arrest and detention had asserted in defense that the Kaduna State Governor, who was classified as a VIP, was accorded protective restrictions when he refused the request of its operatives to give his protective company. Though Justice Galfai rejected the SSS assertions, the security agency had claimed to have an intelligence report that Rufai would be harmed and that it would be blamed for the failure to act to give him protection, hence the deployment of its operatives in the hotel. The security agency specifically claimed that it had no choice but to confine Rufai to the hotel premises because of his blunt refusal to allow its operative to accompany him during the election monitoring. And if you even look at the story properly, Rufai's several accounts of the incident shows he's not consistent. If you want to catch liars sometimes, you allow them tell the story several times and you record the stories while they are telling the stories. I watched several accounts, like 2 or 3 of them, and Rufai is not stable. Rufai is just trying to destroy Peter Obi's name because of 2023 presidential elections. As you can see, even while he sued, he went to court over the said detention, if it was a detention, as he said, as he claimed. He went to court over it. And he did not mention Peter Obi. He never sued Peter Obi. He sued the SSS and the Attorney General. So, why will he in 2022 now attach Obi's name to whatever has happened? Look at the kind of politics they are playing. Group gives federal government 14-day ultimatum to withdraw national honors from Tenny, Two-Face, Burna Boy, others. As reports over the recent National Honors Award given to some Nigerians are yet to settle, a group under the aegis of Citizens Awareness Against Corruption and Social Vices Initiative, CAACASVI, has petitioned the federal government, urging it to review some of the award on some personalities. CAACASV, in a letter on Friday addressed to the Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Senator George Akume, and copied to President Muhammadu Buhari, titled Appraisal and Demand on 2022 National Honors Award, said a rigorous review of the award should be carried out in line with extant rule governing the National Merit Award. The letter, signed by Comrade Olumuyiwa Onlede, Executive Director, CAACASVI, CAACASV, stated that the outcome of the review must lead to stripping of some of the awardees of their award. Among those the group wants their award to be stripped off are Tenny, Two-Face Idibia, Burna Boy, and Ezra Olubi. It said the request is not targeted towards anyone in particular, but towards attitudes that do not portray them as deserving such awards. The letter read in part, Honorable Minister, sir, we hereby request that you initiate the process of this review within 14 days in order to right the wrong and to serve as deterrent and corrective measure to any Nigeria that has the opportunity of meeting the president to know that what he represents is bigger than anyone, no matter their reservation. This fight cannot be left unfought. Therefore, if after 14 days ultimatum nothing is done, we will explore all constitutional options, including peaceful demonstration at your office to press home our demand. Your Excellency, it is with greatest honor that we write this letter to you as Supervising Minister overseeing the Nigerian National Merit Award, organizers of the National Honors Award. Sir, our observation about the just concluded award ceremony is as that of the other patriotic Nigerians who believe in the country and the leadership capacity to move the nation to her promised land, no matter the challenges being faced at the moment. Just like every other objective opinion leaders, you will agree with us that the different scenarios that played out during the award ceremony is a negative verdict on the organizers of the event, from the selection of awardees to presentation. Lest we forget, the National Merit Award was instituted to recognize and honor deserving Nigerians for their outstanding feats in their various fields and endeavors that has turned around to bring repute to the name, image, and integrity of the country, be it at home or in the diaspora. As such, those to be considered for the award must be people with impeccable character over the years. Inasmuch as we recognize the merit in most of the awardees, we are yet to come to terms with how most awardees got their names into the list. For example, one Ezra Olubi, whose look from his lips and fingernails did not go down well with the president that presented him with the award. The president's reaction was a testimony. We also believe the merit award should be for those that know the value, yet, to our amazement, most of the awardees merely sent representatives to receive their award on their behalf, on flimsy excuse of having another engagement, even when they must have been notified for a long time. Continuing, the group claimed This is an action that we believe shows how unpatriotic some of them can be and how easily they can insubordinate Nigeria for other things. The question is, had the president delegated one of his aides to represent him at the event, what would the reaction of the opinion leaders and pulse in the society? We cannot go on without referring to the saddest talking point of the event, where Tenny, a musician, and Awodi utterly embarrassed the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces, who painstakingly stood for over 4 hours to present their award to the recipients. Again, what instinct and what survey gave the organizers the conviction that Tenny is on the merit side of receiving an award? The president's look and reaction to her attitude speaks volume. Your Excellency, sir, as a former chief executive of a state, if you delegate a commissioner to organize an event like this in your state, and it turned out the way of 2022 Merit Award, what appraisal will you give to the commissioner? Sir, we'd like to let you know that the event did not go down well with patriotic Nigerians, and as such, the need to make the following demands to forestall future occurrence. I think these particular people we are talking about, Tenny's attitude, after the President Buhari gave her the award, they were expecting her to like, oh, thank you, sir, daddy, I love this, or, I don't know. But she left as if it's nothing. And they said some of these people some of the awardees did not even come, they sent people. And these organizers are like, imagine if the president was not the person presenting the award and he sent somebody too. So, and what they are trying to say, they are calling for the withdrawal of such award. And prior to that award, there is a particular northerner. I saw this on the dailies. He was saying that even 90% of those in the award list, the awardees, are supposed to be in prison. So I've not had reactions to that too. But these guys are not happy. They are not contented with the way some of these mainly musicians who were part of the award this time around reacted as if it's nothing. Then what do you say about the writer, Chimamanda Adichie, who politely told the president, I don't want to take your award, just like Chinua Achebe and Gani Fawehinmi and several others who have rejected the award. And if you check some of many of those who have been given this award, do they really merit it? Even the one who is given the award, does he merit it? After putting Nigeria in this shape, some of these people are treasury looters. They destroyed this country and they are receiving an award. I think if you want to protest against the awardees, the recipients, you should start with in fact, the award should be totally overhauled. Who are those receiving this award? Anyway, this is where we round up on this one. We shall be back again.